Oh, we're a little too dark. You know, if we do this though, it lightens it up a little, right, Peen? It did it. I'm finally shooting in manual. I'm learning. I still don't. I think it autofocuses. I don't know what this thing does. It does something though, because it moves. Hey guys, welcome to Tiny House Customs. I'm Dan. In this video series, I'm going to be making a deck or installing a deck. Now, this will not be a continuous series. The deck is not a priority on my to-do list, but I need to install my ledger board. Now, a unique thing about my tiny house is that my deck needs to be removable. Most conventional houses, you fasten that deck right onto the house and it is not removable. How many times are you gonna say that word? 6 more times. Okay, thanks. So if you watched other videos, I'm gonna be putting a 6-foot deck in right here. When you come out of the house, you'll come down 2 steps to a 8 by, I think I'm gonna go 8 feet. I was figuring I could put a small table on there, a grill, just a 2-seater. Personally, I don't feel like tiny houses are made for entertaining. I'll definitely have a rock patio out below. So if I do entertain, then I can have a larger table, a larger group of people over. But this is more of a personal date night, just hang out and chill deck is what I'm gonna build. And then that'll come out and then there'll be stairs that go down. So in this video, I'm going to make my ledger boards, which allow me to remove a deck. It's going to be really, I've never ever seen what I'm about to do before, but I've got a what I think is a pretty unique way of doing it, and I'm going to take you along for that journey. The following videos in this series, if it's in a playlist, we'll be going over everything from joists to decking to stairs. I'll probably do one video dedicated to just figuring stairs, because that's a pretty mathematically complex thing to do. So I'm going to try to do that for you guys, and that's it. Oh, and then railing will be another video. But this deck is going to be around $2,000 to $3,000 in total, so not at the priority list. This is more of a end of the project. The reason I need to get my ledger boards on is because I want to start doing my siding. Now, one problem I did notice is this window is right below the door. So personally, when you come out of a house, you should step down 1 step. That's going to prevent water from splashing up and affecting your door, really. So I can't do that because of this window below here, and I want to have the correct trim. So what I'm going to have to do is cut my trim back here so I can put my ledger board right below this threshold. It is a slight design flaw in my project, but I'll make it work, and I think overall it's going to be fine. And then I'm not sure how I'm going to post the thing down. That's going to be another thing that I'll go over. You will see the rest of the videos in the series in the future. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You want to follow that. So let's get started on getting these ledger boards installed. This has got to be the most unique thing that I've ever done, I think, personally. Am I boating? Yes, I'm boating about myself. So generally when you install a deck on a house, you install a ledger board. A ledger board is just a flat piece of wood or 2x material that gets bolted to the side of your house. You generally would use a lag bolt, and these would go every 16 inches staggered up and down. You want these to go into the studs of your wall, and like I said, every 16 inches. Why did I drill that so big? Because they go there. That's why I drilled them so big. Now you could take these and just bolt build your deck and bolt this to your tiny house and then remove this, but I kind of want a better system, because taking these in and out 3 or 4 times is going to end up stripping out the stud. So I want this to be permanent, and then I want to attach a second ledger board to this piece. So what I've done is I've set this up so I have these every 16 inches. So I'm going to put these in. I'll bolt this to the house, and then I'll take another ledger board, which is only going to be 2x6. I'm going to do 2x6 joists on mine. It's pushing it with strength. You might want to use 2x8. Now, because this lag bolt would have stuck out and it would have gotten in the way of this second ledger, I had to countersink this. It does take away some of the strength, but like I said, there's not going to be a lot of weight on this. My theory is that I'm never going to have more than 4 people on that deck, so it should be strong enough. I don't think it's ever going to just break or anything. It might be a little spongy when you're walking on it, but I think for my needs, 2x6 joists will be fine, especially that span I'm going. It's only going to be 8 feet. So those should be strong enough. So I was thinking I'm going to take these 3.5-inch bolts and I'm going to bolt this to the 2x8 that I have on there. Now I've already done the calculations on this piece. This end right here is going to start 1.5 inches in. So my joist is going to run all the way into this and it'll cover this last bit up. And then my thickness of my decking is going to be 1 inch. So I came down 1 inch, came over 1.5 inches, and I got my length and I transferred that mark that the bolt was in to the top here. And now I'm going to have these bolts that go down all the way through the back ledger board. Now I need to put a nut on the back side. Now if I were to just put a nut here, I would never be able to get to that nut to tighten it down. So I almost need to make a nut with a wrench installed into it. So what I did was I went and got some nuts that correspond with that, and I welded on these pieces of flat inch, 1/4 inch stock. They're 1 inch by 1/4 inch, and I cut them about 2 1/4. I ground the back side down. The front side's fine. I drilled out a little bit deeper on this so that this will sit down in there and it'll be flush with this back side. So when I mount this to the wall, I'll have that nut back there and I'll never be able to get to this again. So I need this to be absolutely perfect, everything about this. I drilled 2 holes in it so I can put a screw this into place. I'm also going to paint these with some Rust-Oleum so that they're good to go for a couple years, several years I hope. So this is the ledger board that goes underneath my front door. I did a lot of math to figure out where this goes. I basically measured from my outside corner of my house. I know my studs are 15.5-inch set ahead from the outside of my house, or from the farthest corner. So I measured to my doorway, and then I figured out where that 16 was, and then I figured out how much more I wanted it to hang past. I put my marks at 16 inches on center, and then the other deck, which is going to be 8 feet, I basically figured out how far I want this deck to hang over, because I want the corner of the outside of this point to be supported by this lower deck. So I figured out where this is going to go, and then I transferred this 16-inch mark to here so I can continue doing the system that I did here. I mean, relatively extremely complex, a lot of math. This is the genius part of my whole project here. I'm very, very happy with this. So I'm going to finish doing this other ledger, and then we'll go install it, I guess. I'm not going to really show you what I did here because it's just a lot of slow, repetitive work. A lot of routering, chisels, drilling, measuring, math. Just a lot of work. But this is going to make my decks very easy to remove. Putting them back on is going to be really challenging, kind of like my removable hitch. It's pretty easy to take the thing off, but to put it back under there, lift it up, get it in the right spot is hard. But I don't plan on moving, you know, every year. I'd like to find somewhere where I can stay for several years, if not forever, you know.
I'm tiring down here, Dad. This is exhausting work. Don't tell them I had fleas. Don't tell them fucking fleas. Where are you, Aki? They're annoying, Dad. I'm gonna itch them till they fall off me.
I'm also going to install a piece of drip cap on top of this piece so that it looks more finished here, because this is going to look kind of weird. So this will give it more of a finished edge, as well as a place for my siding to come in and water to shed away. So once I finish this one up, we will go install those, which will be the next shot. So let's go install them. Not really right now. Like to, really like to. So I'm ready to fasten in my ledger boards onto my house. Now, I'm gonna have a step in it. So I'm gonna have 2 portions that I need to figure out where they go. Now, to make sure that they're both running flat, if you don't have something perfectly level or flat, I don't know what the correct term would be. It's not level, is it? Yeah, it's level, it's flat. But if things aren't good, you know, like when I moved my house here and I set it up and it was like 3 inches out, it was the most nauseating thing to walk around in. So you want everything to be within a 1/4 inch. So on this, I'm just going to put a reference line so that I can pull numbers off of it. So if I have a line right here, I can measure up or I can measure down from it here, figure out where this one goes, and then over there I can figure out how far down this step's going to be and pull numbers off of it and figure out where it goes. Now there's 2 ways of doing this. I can measure from the bottom of my trailer up to it, or I can measure off of my fascia. Both of them are running perfectly straight. But right now, I think, I'm going to say this and then take it back, but I think it would be easier for me to butt into my fascia trim. So I'm just gonna measure up. So right now I just want a line, So right now I just want a line that kind of runs right in the middle of this section since there's no obstructions in the way. 93. And then on the opposite side of the house, I'm gonna do the same. Fuck me, it's coming down. Now this deck on this side is gonna stop almost like right here. So as long as this reference line runs past the 2 points, I'll be all right. So I'm just gonna put a nail, or in my case, a screw, because I got no nails on me. Well, I have a screwdriver, maybe I can screw it in a little too. Oh, look at that, look at that, holy shit. And then I'm just gonna use a chalk line, preferably red or black. It's gonna be more permanent than blue. So I'm gonna use that and get that reference line all the way across. It's important when you're pulling a line to pull it extremely tight, to the point where you feel like your finger's gonna break. Good. So now that I have that reference point, I can pull my numbers and figure out what I need to do. Now when I'm saying pull, what I mean is just take my tape measure, put it on that red line, and I can pull my numbers. So if I want this ledger board to be 10 inches below this red line, I could put a mark here at 10 inches, go to the opposite side, mark 10 inches again, snap that, and that would be my official point. But this is just to make sure that my two ledger boards are running level with each other. Parallel, I guess you could say parallel. Cool, I hope that made sense. I got bit by something over here. It hurts. I don't know where it is. It wanted me dead. So when I was laying out the ledgers for my house, I had figured out where the studs were before I drilled all those holes. So what I'm gonna do real quick is just mark on that red line that I just snapped. I didn't really just snap it, but I'm gonna lay out on top of it and I'm gonna put the center of the stud. When I laid out my walls, I pulled from this corner. I referred to it as my magic corner. No, what did I call it? I think something about something special being that corner. And my plywood is flush with the end of this wall. So if I hook onto my plywood, I should be good. And I went 15 1/4. Now I'm just gonna go to the 16 inch because that would be the center of my stud, 16 inches on center. And I'm just gonna work my way all the way down. You fucking piece of shit. Oh God, my drink, I almost knocked my drink over. So I got that laid out with all the 16 inches. I'm just going to check, make sure there is a stud behind each one of them. That's good. Now you can use a nail or you could just use your hammer. I know there's one there. So I know these 4 are gonna be good. So I'm just gonna square that up so I can see it and reference it for my ledger. Square this mark across. Now I just gotta figure out where I want it up and down. I got some shims just to help me get it up. It's kind of like that blue pill. So like I said, I'm gonna put a piece of drip cap on top of the permanent ledger board. So I need to notch this because it's got kind of a point in it right here. So I wanna take that out right where the door is. So I got where this has to go side to side. I'm gonna put this on top of this, right about there. And then I'm just gonna put a mark right there. I'm gonna take this to the shop and remove this piece. All right, so I got that notched out so it will slide right underneath there. I wanted this portion where I ripped it to be flat to about 1 1/4. I went about 3/4 of an inch. It'll end up leaving a slight gap right here, which I didn't think about until after I did it. But I think it's really not noticeable. And I'm gonna be siliconing this up real good, so cool. So I'm just gonna put down a bead of caulk on top of this pressure treated. And then I'm gonna take my drip cap and place it right on top of there. I'm gonna make sure I'm flush. I use a couple galvanized nails to secure this. And since I don't want water getting back in where the door is, I'm gonna place some silicone right where my notch is at. So I'll bring this over where it's gotta go and shim it up so it's tight. And I'm just gonna triple, double, 90% check to make sure that's good. A little off. I don't know what happened there. So just to temporarily hold this, I'm gonna just use some just regular screws. Make sure I pull up, use my hammer to pry up and pull on it, pushing in. So then I'm going to take my lag bolts and put them through my holes. Now these are galvanized, and there is a galvanized washer as well. And because I need to figure out where my lower deck's going, I'm going to put the main ledger, or the removable ledger, back on so I can pull numbers off of it. You don't know how bad I want to go and buy the joist to do this and make the deck. It's only going to be, what was it, $150 for the hangers, for the joist, the posts. I didn't do the concrete blocks, but those are probably only $5 each, so yeah, about 150 bucks to frame it. And then I also factored in 2 sheets of plywood just to give me something temporary. The decking is going to be really expensive, and the railing is going to be expensive, so those will be the bottom of the list. But I think I need to side the house before I put the deck on, because then I'll be struggling to work around it. Now I might have hung this over a little bit too much, but I can always go back and trim this all the way up to my bolt basically. But I was figuring with the railing coming in, I wanted to have this trim and then the railing post to be right here. So I gave myself a little bit more than maybe I needed, but that's all right. This is perfect. So this deck's only going to come out 4 feet, and it'll be a L-shaped railing on it. One step. Let's go do that now. It's fiery hot. It's fiery, fiery hot. Shut up. Most annoying cock I've ever seen in my life. Next thing I know, he's gonna be sending me cock pictures. God, it's teeny tiny deck. Gonna be cute. It's gonna be the cutest deck in the world. So this lower deck, which is gonna be 8 feet by 8 feet, is gonna be dropped down right here. I want to step down onto a 1 step here and then onto the deck. Now this ledger board is overhanging this a little bit, so that this corner of this deck will be supported right here, and it will be supported by the stair that I do. And the stair will be something, it'll be like a miniature deck basically, that slides underneath this, and then this gets fastened down onto it. Since I want the decking that's going to go on top of that step to run in line with the decking that's going to be going on both of these decks, I want my decking to run underneath this deck as well. So basically I'm going to make like I just said, a miniature deck. So these are 5.5 inches. They're not really, they're 5 3/8. They should be 5.5, but they're figuring out ways to save money, I guess. Yeah, 5.5 roughly. And then my decking is going to be 1 inch thick. So if I measure from the bottom of this 2x6, 5.5 plus that extra inch for the decking, I have 6.5 inches. Let's see if I can do this. I don't think I can. Oh God, oh God. Oh no. It's all downhill from here. Alright. Right there. Don't move. Oh, you're moving, you're moving. Double check it. 6.5. So my step is going to be 6.5 inches. Not ideal, but for this application, that'll work. So this line right here represents the top of my permanent ledger board. Since I'll be adding an inch to the lower deck, it brings it up to this point, and that mini deck will sit on top of that. So this line is this point right here. I just said that. You're repeating yourself. So now I need to figure out from this red line to this what I have. Since I can't measure straight down, I'll just measure this. 2 3/8 plus 5 3/4, 8 1/8. So I'm gonna mark 8 1/8, and I'm gonna do the same thing over here. So I marked it down on the other side. I'm gonna run it to this mark that's at 8 1/8, whatever it was, and I'm good with that line. So I did my math right, and I will snap this. You generally only need to snap once, but I don't have any more chalk, and I'm too cheap to go buy some. I don't want to re-up on the red powder, if you know what I mean. It's expensive. So the next thing I'm gonna do is square down my 16-inch centers that I have. Oh God, that was horrible. I'll use both lines to get it all the way through. Oh, it smells so good. I love the smell of wood. Not that kind. So I'm gonna square this across so I can line those 2 marks up. This way I know that that lag is going to go right into a stud. So I measured the thickness of my 2x8, which is 7 and I believe 5/16. I think, yeah, that's what it was. So I'm just going to come to my red line, measure down to 7 5/16, put a mark right there. Since I'm working by myself, I'm just going to take a little block and nail that on right there, or just tack it on. Just something to hold this end while I'm dealing with this end over here. I'm gonna make sure I got my top up top, obviously, right? You want top on the top, hey? I'll put this on that side. Oh shit. I did wrong. I did wrong. Yeah, I did wrong. So I'm gonna line these 16-inch centers up with the mark that I have on my wall. Make sure that's perfect, and I'm good with the top of my red line. And again, I'll just put a temporary screw in that. That'll work. So before I go and lag this into the wall, I'm just gonna double check my measurements. 5.5 is the 2x6 that I'll be using, plus the 1-inch thick decking. Brings me to 6.5 to the top of this, and that's exactly what I want. So we can lag this in, eh? So when you're working with lumber like this, it's gonna have a crown in it. It's gonna have a bow up, or it should have a bow up. It shouldn't be down. So I sighted this earlier and I knew that it was crowned up. And so I'm off my red line right in the middle here. So I'm just gonna do is knock this side down a little bit. So I'm good on my red line. And then I'll put one in the middle here. Oh, I forgot to be checking. Oh, motherfucker. Almost got hurt. My trolls would have been right. And then I'll just shim this back up. Secure that a little bit better maybe. It's not working. It's not working. That's beautiful. And then now that that's perfect on top, I can lag these all the way in. So I'm gonna put that removable ledger on. That's gonna just hold this thing square for now, because if I just left this in the shed or something, or in the barn, it's gonna end up becoming warped and won't look as good. So you'll come off this deck, there'll be a 1-foot step, and then you'll come down onto the main deck. And this step's only gonna be about 3 feet wide, and then the other staircase there. So there'll still be plenty of room to put a small table up here. So last thing I gotta do is install the drip cap. I'm gonna just do the same thing. Put some glue down and then put some galvanized trim nails into it and bolt that in there. But I think that's gonna be the end of this video. When I come back to this project, we'll be doing the joists as well as leveling it and posting it down to cinder blocks basically that hold a 4x4 posts. Now you don't need to do this method. This is way over the top. You could just build a deck kind of like I have right here, just a 4-post thing and put some diagonals on it. But I was looking for something a little bit more permanent, sturdy, so when you walk onto the deck, it feels secure and safe. And this is gonna give you that secure feeling. Because I've been in tiny houses where I step on stuff and I'm like, is this gonna break? I'm a little scared. So I want to avoid that at all costs. So personally, I think this is a really good idea. It could be wrong, maybe. I don't know, maybe there's an engineer out there who thinks I'm an idiot. But I think it's good. I think it'll be cool. I can't wait to build the deck. I did that for many years too, so I'm looking forward to framing the deck. But if you are new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to help support a fully fan-funded tiny house build, I got a Patreon page. The link's going to be in the description below. For just $1 a month, you'll get advanced access to all my content, as well as behind-the-scenes videos that are just for you, just for Patreon supporters. And what else am I doing over there? I'm doing something else. But just $1 a month, you'll be helping support the new tiny house that I'm starting, and it'll be great. I will really appreciate it. Yes, but don't forget to hit that thumbs up and comment your great knowledge down below, and I will see you on the next video. I hate that outro. I need to come up with a new one, but I'm not clever. That's cool though, isn't it? I'm really happy with that. Can we step back and just look at it? Can we just enjoy it together? Look at this ghetto rig I got set up right now. That is just ghetto. That's a tiny deck. Weight though, man, you gotta think about weight. I could still go, no, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That'll be a nice 2-person seating area. That's all I want this to be. All right, clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up. Something, da, da, da. How do we do? What was that? That was probably pushing 25 minutes. Sorry for the 25-minute video. I just can't. I can't help myself. Stop talking, because your talking makes the video go on forever. There's something on the lens right here. It's driving me nuts. And then I'm touching it with my finger. That's a no-no. No touching